Welcome back to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. Today is October 20th. We're recording on a Sunday night. And as always, we have Yinka Yusuf
Hello, people. Good evening.
and Akin Adeke. Yinka, we've been
Yes,
away
sir.
for 2 weeks.
Yes, boss.
Not because we didn't want to do this, but
Yeah.
I had mic issues last week, and between the two of us, we're supposed to be engineers in a prior life, and we couldn't figure it out.
but
we
but
couldn't.
we did figure it out at the end of the day.
We troubleshot it.
We troubleshot and we reached the conclusion that you had to change your mic. So now you have a glowing stick in front of me now that looks like
it's gonna take some getting used to, So I got a brand new mic. It looks like a trophy. It's also like 1/5 the weight of the old one. It's so light, like it's crazy. But anyway, I'm looking forward to this episode. Thankfully, we didn't miss a ton last week because of the international break. I know you watch everything that shows on TV, but I try my best not to watch the internationals because I don't know. It's in protest almost.
Nah, there were some fun games. A few of them were interesting, especially on the African continent. And even in Europe, there were a couple of ones that were nice. Also in South America. So I don't watch everything, but there are some I look out for. England, France, Germany, Netherlands, Argentina, Brazil, Nigeria. Yeah. So if it's Lithuania and San Marino, I'm not crazy now. There's nothing. It might be on, right? And if they shout, I look up to see they've scored a goal. But for me to invest in it and watch it, no, not really.
So you might look up when San Marino concedes their 9th goal or whatever.
Exactly. So the audio is slightly there, so I can hear if there's a chance, if there's a goal. I can look up what the replay, go back to what I'm doing. But
my gosh,
I'm not invested in those. Nah, not at all.
All right. So before we get into the agenda, Inka, I feel like we should, since we're on the topic of internationals, I think we should give a special shout out to Mr. Leo Messi. He had himself quite a week.
Yeah.
I believe they played Bolivia.
Wasn't it Venezuela? Bolivia? I think was
it Venezuela?
I think they played Venezuela.
You can check.
Go ahead.
You can check.
I'll check. Go ahead.
And did they have a hat trick plus 2 assists?
Yep.
I believe they did.
You're right. They played Bolivia. Sorry, they played
Bolivia. Yeah. Do you know if it was home or away? Because that matters in Bolivia.
It was home.
Okay. So the reason it matters is Bolivia is at altitude.
High altitude.
And everybody struggles when they go there.
Everybody
but this wasn't in Bolivia. This was in Argentina. But hat trick and 2 assists. And then it comes back home and plays for club.
Home as in Miami.
Miami. Oh, yeah. Sorry. It comes back home as in Miami. Comes back to his club. And they just broke the record for most points ever in MLS history, 74 points. I believe they only lost twice and drew 4 times or something like that. Or was it? Let me not confuse our listeners. But they broke the record, 74 points, and they won in the MLS they call it the Supporters Shield. So the winner of the regular season wins the Supporters Shield, and then you go into the playoffs, like other American sports. So this is kind of crazy. When he came in last year, they were like very close to the bottom of the league.
Not that they were close to. When they're the bottom of the league. Yeah.
Very close. If not the bottom,
the season before, if there were to be relegation in the US, in the MLS, they would have been relegated. They would have been relegated. With what's his name? Blaise Matuidi.
Oh my God, your guy. And now everybody wants to play with him. Yinka, there's a new player they signed too from Real Madrid, and the name escapes me now. But everybody's playing for Inter now. You know, they put the old Spanish band together. You know,
which is I'm happy for David Beckham, because when he dreamt of this, people thought it was crazy. He's looking like a smart man right now. I'm happy for him.
No, he is.
I am happy.
And you know, this was part of his contract when he came to play in the MLS. So it was in his contract that he would have the rights to a new franchise.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't free, but at a sweetheart deal. And I think that they locked in the price back then. Valuations have gone through the roof now for MLS teams. So
yeah,
it's
I'm happy.
Amazing.
Happy for him. Quite amazing.
Yeah,
and I'm happy for Messi too. Congrats to him.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of legends, before we move on, I think it's fair we mention this. So people remember our first only invite to the show was Peter Rufai. His legend or his role model, like he said, was a gentleman called Peter Fregene. Unfortunately, we lost Peter Fregene. Was it during the week or last week? I think it was last week.
I think Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. It was 2 Thursdays ago, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. So we lost Peter Fregene, legendary goalkeeper. May his soul rest in peace. Condolences to Dodo Mayama. I'm sure he feels, is a major loss for him. That was his mentor. And also the whole Nigerian sporting community. We lost a good one.
Yeah, I believe it was it 74? I believe.
Yeah.
So it was older, but he had been sick. It's really sad. For those who might be interested, Mr. Shagun Degbami wrote a pretty nice piece about him the morning after. So you might want to check that out. It's crazy because sports makes you feel like a kid. It's like the only part of your life where you suspend logic and you suspend your brain and you just live in the moment. And I say that because every time, especially Nigeria, that's how Nigeria has a special place in your heart, right? Because every time a Nigerian player passes, it just crushes me. And it doesn't matter if they pass at 26 or 37 or 50 or 74. Like, I want them to live forever, which nobody lives forever, but it's just this childlike, thing that comes with, having sporting heroes. They're not like political heroes or national heroes or anything like that. With sports, it's like you freeze them in time as the superstar 26-year-old you watched, and you never want them to look diminished or God forbid to die. So it's just kind of crazy.
Anyway, may so rest in peace.
Yeah.
So,
Amen.
Akin, what do we have? We are packed today. I understand.
We're packed, so we need to move on quickly. But first, a quick fit check. And remember our last episode, I introduced the +234 line. This is their other product. It's just Lagos. Yeah. It's a t-shirt. It's kind of heavy, but I like it. You can wear it. You can wear it outside. I like it. So
that's nice.
Yeah, I thought I'll support them. I got their jersey and I got the t-shirt, and it's pretty much the same style, kind of longish sleeves, kind of old school, baggy-ish. This is their XL.
Are they in the US or in Lagos or in Nigeria?
Yeah, it's a young lady. It's a young lady in the US. It's a young lady in the US that started it. So I hope she does well.
Get me her Instagram handle. Let me see if I can.
Yes, I will. Yeah. I'll send you the information.
Yeah.
All right.
And Arsenal don't need any support. They're already making stupid money from jersey sales.
I know.
But I remember the reason why I wore this was one of our friends said the Arsenal game was like, what jersey are you guys wearing? You don't look like yourselves.
You don't look
So
like
I'm like,
Arsenal. Yeah.
you don't look like Arsenal. So to that our friend, that's what I'm putting on. This is the Arsenal's third kit for the year.
Yeah, which they did not play very well in, but we're gonna get to
Yeah,
that.
we'll get
All
there.
right. So, Yinka, we have a lot to get to. So, one,
Yes.
Rafael Nadal retired.
Mm.
One of the all-time greats in the world of tennis, the absolute undisputed greatest clay court merchant that ever did it, that ever lived. Yinka, before this man, I used to marvel. We all used to marvel at Gustavo Kuerten, the Brazilian,
the Brazilian
skinny, mop haired, lanky, skinny, tallish, clay court specialist. I don't think Gustavo won more than 2 at Roland. Was it 3? Maybe, but that for our time, for our generation, that was what he meant to be a clay court legend.
Yeah.
And then Nadal came. I was like, hold my Zobo, hold my beer, hold my
everything.
Wine, hold everything.
Let me show you how it's done.
Nadal finished with 14 at Roland Garros.
Yeah.
That is insane. That's crazy.
Aki, you know what's more insane?
Yeah.
He only lost 4 games at Roland Garros.
Games. So
as in, he only lost 4 times. 1, 2,
so there
3,
was
4.
There was only 4 years that he played and didn't win. That's what it means.
That's what it means. Nadal played 116 matches at Roland Garros. He only lost 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 97% win rate.
It's insane.
I can forget tennis. That's the greatest dominance or domination. I don't know what the word to use. Yeah, the English guy.
In right? Any sport.
In anything, in anything that I can think of.
Crazy.
It's crazy. And 3 out of those came when he was injured. The only person that really beat him was that second round loss that he had to. What's that guy's name? I've forgotten.
I don't remember. It was shocking.
It was shocking. That was the only one. Every other one, he wasn't at his best. He was injured. The only one that he lost was that guy's loss. I've forgotten the guy's name. 97% win rate, Aki.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
When you think about legendary, right? We've seen, like a Bjorn Borg who won, was it 5 times at Wimbledon and 6 in the French or whatever it is, or 6 at Wimbledon, 5, that was crazy. Sampras 6 times at Wimbledon was unheard of, right? Federer ended up winning, I think, 8 times at Wimbledon, and maybe 6 Australian, maybe, and now Joker has won 8 in 8 Australians. These are big numbers. And then one man shows up with 14 in one tournament.
The last time we had this tennis argument, I told you he's my favorite player.
Yes,
right?
He's your favorite. I told it's not mine, but
he's my favorite player. And we discussed this, went back and forth. The good discussion in tennis is very fluid. Yeah, you can. It could be any of them, right? So I'll give you that. It could be any of them. But there was one guy. There's a guy on Twitter or X, Nadal Prop.
I refuse to call it X.
Same here. Nadal Prop. He had a bunch of tweets. So I'm just gonna read it out. Shout out to Nadal Prop, wherever you are. Yeah, good job with this. So, a couple of things about Nadal that I just thought to bring to people's attention. Nadal had 912 consecutive weeks in the top 10. 912 consecutive weeks top 10. Okay, that's one. Two, Nadal is the youngest player to achieve career Grand Slam, career Golden Slam, and career Grand Slam at 24 years old. So he won Australian Open, Roland Garros, Wimbledon, US Open, and Olympic gold. The youngest, 24 years old.
By 24.
By 24, right? Is the only player to be, here it is the only player to be world number one, win multiple Grand Slam, win slams on multiple surfaces, win slams without dropping a set in 3 different decades. Only player. So, you know what the guy did? He did a Venn diagram. You're a mathematician. You know what Venn diagram is. So he did a Venn diagram, and he had Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, everything in 2000s. He had 2010s. He had Andre Murray, Joker, you know.
Yeah.
Then at the bottom, he had Medvedev and Alcaraz. Then in that Venn diagram, that middle guy, he only had Nadal in there. So he's the only player in 3 decades to do that. Another one. His record is just mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing on clay. His record is it's ridiculous, right? Nadal won 63 titles on clay. Now, this is not just Roland Garros. This is across all clay. all clay. He won 63. Guillermo Villash is next with 49, right?
Wow.
Across board on clay, okay? The matches won on clay in total, his win rate is 91.3%. He won 474 matches. He only lost 45. Across all clay tournaments.
All the tournaments. Wow.
All the clay tournaments. Yeah? We talked about the Grand Slams. He had 14. Next is Bjorn Borg with 6. And Gustavo Kuetin that we talked about even had 3.
3, I thought he had 3. Yeah. Wow.
His longest win streak on clay was 81 games between 2005 and 2007. Nobody beat him on clay. No one.
Dominance.
The other funny bit is a lot of people say I think they disrespect him kind of by limiting him to clay.
Oh, it's just clay.
Actually won quite a lot on hard court.
No, he won he won everywhere. Yeah.
No, the troublesome one for him was Wimbledon, and I cannot understand why. I hate the timing of Wimbledon. You can't be in a clay court season and tell you to go just play one grass tournament and come back to play.
What is it? A month later? 3 weeks later?
A month later.
Like that?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So the only prep you have for Wimbledon is Queens or the other tournaments in Germany.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a shock. Going through a lengthier clay season, gets disrupted by 2 tournaments of grass, then you go back to clay, right?
And if you think about it, his friend Federer would have already gone out and had a few extra days after Roland Garros.
Exactly. So he's the only player to have won more than 6 Grand Slams on both hard court and clay court, right?
That's crazy.
Is the only one to have won more than 450 matches on both surfaces. Only one to have won more than 25 titles on both surfaces. No other player has managed to win more than 3 slams on each of both surfaces. Nobody else.
That's crazy.
So that's Nadal.
That's great.
He is
one of one. I think you can say that. He's one of one. He's one of one. Because Pete Sampras, towards the end of his career, stopped going to the French. Pete also stopped going to the Australian because he's a quirky dude. He thought the season started too early and he just stopped flying to Australia. But he literally stopped. I think he made the semis once, maybe. Earlier in his career, Pete Sampras, he just stopped playing the French. Federer won the French once. Federer, but I think it was in the final 3 times, I think. But he won the French once.
But he won it once.
He won. Nadal made him cry, because Federer was at his absolute best and he got blasted in that final.
Nadal beat him 6-love, 6-1.
And he made him cry.
In a Grand Slam final. Forget the surface.
at
6-1, 6 love, 6 love.
Absolute prime.
Absolute prime.
Absolute prime. Federer.
I'll rely one more and I'll let us move
go
on.
Go for it.
Nadal has the longest unbeaten streak across all 3 surfaces. At 32 games.
No. So his game is not the most appealing to me. He's your favorite of all time. Federer is my favorite of all time. But I have so much respect for him. I think Federer has so much respect for him. And it's funny because, sometimes when competitors say they're friends, it's really a lie. And it's just the press. They are actually friends. It's actually
very
real.
Good friends.
It's actually real. So just, I thought we had to do this segment. We should have done it last week, but here we are. So congratulations to Rafa.
More importantly for Rafa, right? I think the fact that he's an absolute gentleman is a good guy.
Yes.
It comes through. And, we've seen people that are champions, that are very good, and they're absolute, I don't want to use the word, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Joker.
So, yeah. But for him, kudos to himself and Roger and Federer. They were good, but they were better human beings. You get what I mean? Fantastic tennis players, but better human beings, right?
And Yinka, they saved men's tennis. Let's keep it real, because after the Agassi generation or whatever, there was a lull.
There was,
and there was a time when the main attraction in the tournaments was on the women's side. It was Martina Hingis, and then later the Williams sisters and all that. And it wasn't the men. They say, they're like Jordan and Magic and and Bird in the NBA. They saved men's tennis.
I like Sampras, right? But serve and volley tennis is not the best to watch. I love Andy Roddick, but serve and volley wasn't fun to watch, right? Until Federer came and said, I will take what Agassi did, I'll take it to the next level and be a baseline menace. Backhand, forehand, any which way. People were like, wow, we thought Agassi had shown us nobody can do better than Agassi. What is Federer doing? And by the time you thought you're seeing Federer and you were hailing Federer, in comes one 16-year-old Spanish boy with shots up to his knee. That was just, man. Anyway.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Sampras's natural game was more like Federer's natural game was more like Sampras.
Oh, it's more like Sampras.
Federer now developed that baseline, developed that defensive part of his game, and then just became unstoppable. All right, Yinka, we can't say we have so much to get to and then get lost in this Nadal thing. So we got to move on.
I agree. Let's move on.
It's so much fun to talk about, because these guys are just absolutely dominant, and we may never see anything like it again. But
I agree.
Yinka, let's go to the WNBA, and 2 things we're going to talk about. So first, we're going to talk about the All-NBA team. And our girl Angel Reese did not make any of the teams. They do 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do 3 teams.
I think they did 2.
They do 2.
I think it was
the NBA does. The NBA does 3. So let's say the WNBA does 2. And for those who don't follow, All-NBA is a little different from All-Star. So All-Star is a popularity contest. The fans vote. The players vote, coaches vote, whatever. But it's the fans vote actually carries a lot of weight. For the All-NBA, it's who are the best players 1 through 5, first team, 1 through 5, second team. And, the fans have no say in it. So, Yinka, what do you want to say about this?
Okay, so first things first, just quickly run through the list. So first team, I think we talked about this already. But the first team had I think I'm mixing it up now. So he had
I think we talked about the MVP votes, not the All-NBA, not the All-WNBA.
So it was Caitlin Clark, it was Nafisa Kolia, Alyssa Thomas, Brianna Stewart, and Asia Wilson. That was the 5, right? Then the second one, I had it somewhere. I don't have the list, but I remember Nneka Ogumike was on there, and that was someone that I kind of thought.
I can give you the second team.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me the second team, please.
Sabrina Ionescu, Kalia Copper, Nneka Ogumike, Arike Ogunbowale, and Jonquel Jones. That was the second team. And you're right, there's no third team.
There's no third team. Yeah. So Angel Reese wasn't on there, and I felt somehow about that. I'm not too sure Nneka had a better season than Angel Reese.
Wow.
I love Nneka, right? But on the Seattle Storm that she's on, I don't even think she was their best player this year. Right?
Wow.
What's her name? Lloyd. Jewel Lloyd was better. The young lady that used to be on ESPN, what's her name? Point guard that interned with ESPN. I keep forgetting her name.
Wait. Point guard?
Yeah, point guard. Skylar Diggins.
Oh, Skylar Diggins. Skylar Diggins Smith, yeah.
Skylar, it's a surname that makes me Diggins Smith.
Yeah.
It's Skylar Diggins. yeah. Skylar had a better season than Nneka, right? But see, I'm not really mad at it, frankly.
Yeah. Nneka was, or maybe still is, the president of the Players Union. She's an elder stateswoman. You know, the WNBA is all about hierarchy. We talked about it with Tarazi at the Olympics. You know, we talked about it with Chelsea, who was injured, and they waited for her for the Olympics. You know, so they, it's very hierarchical in the WNBA. You have to pay your dues. You know.
Anyway, so I thought that was odd, kind of.
Yeah,
I thought Angel should have made the second team, not the first team. She should have made the second team. But anyway, she has the rest of her career to make that happen.
She does. She does.
So we wish all of them the best of luck.
So Caitlin became only the 5th rookie to make All-WNBA first team. So the last one to make it was in 2008. And it was Candace Parker in 2008. But there's also been, Sue Bird, Tamika Catchings, and Diana Taurasi. So she's playing in pretty rarefied air right now. But to the surprise of absolutely no one, she's gonna be legendary when this is over. All right. Yeah. So the second part of our NBA conversation is the NBA Finals going on right now. So number 1 seed New York Liberty are going up against number 2 seed the Minnesota Lynx. So this has been crazy. So they're in Game 5 right now, and Game 5 goes back to New York today.
Goes back to New York,
believe. Yeah, Games 1 and 2 was split in New York.
Yep.
And then Games 3 and 4 in Minnesota was split as well. New York had a chance at winning the whole thing on the road on Friday night. But wasn't that crazy? It was tied. I believe it was 80-80. I think Minnesota had just missed a shot. And then there were, I don't remember the player was going up for a rebound. I think it was Carlton. Carlton was going up for a rebound. And was it Sabrina that fouled her? It was like a very not great foul. It wasn't her best moment. Yeah. Sabrina fouled her and put her on the line, and she made two free throws, and then there was only 3 seconds or 4 seconds left, and then she got the ball. Sabrina got the ball and missed a 3 after making a 3 to win it all in Game 3. So
in Game 3. In Game 3. So it's perfectly poised for I'm happy we have a game 5, and I'm happy it's in New York. It's gonna be at the Nets. I think it's at Brooklyn, right?
And in
it's
Brooklyn.
it's in Brooklyn. I'm happy I'm happy for the audience and the attention that these ladies are getting. Yeah. And I'm happy also that the people that are watching just to support Caitlin Clark, right? I'm happy they're also out of the way, if you get what I mean. Because right now, yes, the number would have been better if Caitlin Clark was in the final, but she ain't. But the numbers are still fantastic. Those games have been intense. You're talking proper playoff intensity. I think game 1 was nuts. Game 2 was a blowout. It was
insane.
Game 1 was nuts. It was crazy. That went into overtime, right? That game 1 went into overtime. That's where, what's her name? Brianna, she had a chance to win it in normal time. She went to the free throw line. She got 1 out of 2, right? And they went into overtime, and she missed the layup to win it at the end of the day. Yeah. So the game has been fun. Nafisa Collier has been balling.
For me, I think she's been the best player across the two. She's been the most consistent. She hasn't had a bad game. But again, I think New York just has too
much firepower.
Yeah, and so they can't all be on fire at the same time, if that makes sense.
But at the same time, it's like she's fighting 3 people, because it's like Nafisa against Sabrina Jonquel Jones and Brianna Stewart. In actual fact, it could as well have been Nafisa against one of them. Because those are 3 solid. I mean, she's the only one on the All-WNBA team. Yeah. And the New York have 3 people on it.
Yeah.
Have 3 people on it.
You're right.
So it's unfortunate the game today is 1 a.m. I have an early morning tomorrow. I don't think I'll be up.
That's 8 p.m. That's 8 p.m. for me.
So good luck to you. I have an early morning tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to stay up for that. But yeah, I wish I could.
I'll let you know what happens.
Let me know what happens.
All right, moving on quickly. So the case between Manchester City and the Premier League. Now, to be clear, these are not the charges. These are not the 115 charges that were brought. Mm-hmm. This is City suing the league for one thing. That is the related party, transaction rule. And both sides are claiming they won. Okay. But Yinka, do you just want to just give a 30-second, your 30-second view of what happened and whatever, and then we'll move on.
Okay. So, yes, you're right. This is not the 115 charges. This is for the associated party transactions.
Yeah, associated, which is not related. Yep.
Yeah. So this is, for example, if Etihad is sponsoring the jerseys and they wake up one day and they say they want to play 1 billion. So the Premier League frowns at it and be like, sorry guys, that's not no sane human being will pay 1 billion for that kind of service. So historically, they will always get an independent party to do the valuation, and then that's the limit that you can go. That's what the APT rules are, more or less. So City took the Premier League to court to say that whole structure was not proper. It was the lawyer. What did they call it? They said it was anti-competitive.
It's anti-competitive. Yeah.
They said it was anti-competitive. Blah blah blah. So they went to court. And all of a sudden, the case was, and what we heard was, City said they won. And they're like, this is solid. They wrote a letter to all the Premier League teams to say blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. Then the Premier League came out and they said, okay, we won. I'm like, okay, now I'm confused. So I had to listen to both parties, and what I gather, and this is from a layman's perspective, is this. Yes, both parties kind of got some brownies, some points. So the courts agreed that the way the APT is currently structured is against the laws in the UK. However, they agree that you need to have a system to regulate associated party transactions. So the Premier League then said, guys, let's meet within 10 days. We can quickly fix this. They didn't tell us to cancel the whole APT thing. They just said the way you're doing it is not proper. Then City goes and tells all the league that no, we can't do this in 10 days, that they need to sit down, do. And I'm like, okay, so why are you now shouting that you won? It's not as if the APT rules will be cancelled. No, they will not be cancelled. They will just be restructured. And the restructuring now will probably involve a bit of, guys, is this now what we've done now? Is this in line with, the laws of the land and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So I find it odd, and so I'll go back to you with this, Akin. You're the lawyer. Maybe you can educate me a bit. Yeah. I know we discussed this before, but just bear with me. So City are suing an EPL that they're part of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So,
and y'all agreed to all these things, all these laws, because do you understand? Y'all agreed to the laws day one. Yeah? So how is this going to work? So are you going to tie this in arbitration or in the courts forever? Because that's what City want to do. And I think City is trying to distract everybody. We have the
from the
resources.
115.
For the 115. We have the resources. We can tie this up in perpetuity. Yeah? While you don't... The Premier League is not... The Premier League is funded by the other clubs, including City, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how does this then work? I'm confused.
Okay, so a couple of things. So number one, City is trying to win the PR game, right? So just understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to win the PR game. So let me start by saying the US style of ownership is different from the European style. So you notice that in the US, clubs are called franchises, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens, say the NBA, for example, it's the same thing with the NFL. So, and MLB too, baseball and NHL hockey, right? The leagues are non-profit organizations, right? And then it's closed. There's no relegation or whatever. It's a closed club, right? It's the rules are kind of similar. So, for example, Yinka, I have a non-profit thing that is registered in the US, right? There are two major ways you can be a non-profit. You can be like a public non-profit, and then you can be like a private foundation kind of thing, right? So this would be somewhere in between, because I can't just go in now and say, I'm a part of the NBA. The NBA doesn't really work like that. So this is like a private club, but they're non-profit, but they make billions of dollars as a non-profit, So, but unlike say in the UK, where Manchester United is a publicly floated company, you cannot have that. The New York Knicks they can't go float, because they're part of a not-for-profit. So it's a little different that way, right? And I say all this to go back to your question of how can you be a part of something and also be suing them? And I'm not sure if the New York Knicks could sue the NBA, but if the NBA is really, really doing something bad to them, I guess they could. Why not? Anyone can go to court and seek redress, but City are not doing this with clean hands. They're not doing this in good faith. But they're also right. It is anti-competitive. And again, you compare the two sides of the pond. In general, the joke, so with AI, for example, I'm jumping around a little bit. The joke, like on my job, we joke that, innovation comes from the US, regulation comes from Europe, from the EU, and then China copies everything. That's kind of how technologies go. You know what I mean? So right now, the AI is coming from Silicon Valley. all the biggest ideas, all the biggest technologies coming from Silicon Valley. But there is no regulatory framework that in the US. You know where there is a regulatory framework? In the EU.
Yeah.
And then once everything has been figured out and the EU has successfully limited what you can do with it, then it's open season in China. Yeah. And then they'll make cheap versions of everything. You know? So I say all that to say the competition rules in Europe are the most, they're the strictest and the most advanced. You know? Not to get too political, but Biden's head of the FTC is a European-style crusader, right? She's an outlier. Lena Khan, she's an outlier. I've talked to people who actually worked in the Obama FTC, in the Obama administration, DOJ, Department of Justice, and FTC, who say they are looked upon as like heretics, as you guys didn't do anything. I mean, these are same party. You know, Obama is no conservative, right? But the current crop in the FTC look at them as you all didn't do anything. You let these people go crazy. So I say all that to say, in Europe, regulation is the way they do everything. You know, and then when it comes to competition and monopoly, huge. So City knew this was gonna work in their favor. But you're right, the Premier League is just gonna tweak it. You know, because the optics do not work in City's favor, right?
At all.
You cannot go to every country and have a club in every country and then just pass players around for $2. That's crazy. You can't do that. So anyway, so so they're both trying to win the PR game. They're both trying to say that they won. But what's gonna happen is there will be common sense rules. Most teams who don't plan to go around the world buying other clubs will support it. I think you will still be able to have associated clubs, but then the valuation thing, I think they'll fix the valuation thing. You know, where you can't just say, oh, I'm buying a player from my sister club for $2, or inflate it on the other side and say it's 20 million, but the guy is only worth $2. You know what I mean?
So I can, good points, and I hear that. But I don't even think the Premier League, I don't think they are restricting the player transaction side of things, right?
Yes.
So for example, City bought Savinho from Girona for peanuts.
Yeah, I know.
City owns Girona. They own they own City, obviously, and City owns your New York MLS club. What's the name again?
New York City FC.
Absolutely.
NYCFC.
NYCFC. So they can round trip players however they want. I don't even have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is, Akin, you wake up tomorrow and you look at the Etihad Stadium and you say, it's time for us to what's the word? To rename the Etihad Stadium, right? And it's up for tender. And somebody in City hierarchy goes, Etihad will pay you 1 billion naira. I mean, 1 billion pounds. And everybody's going, so that's football revenue. Then you'll be able to buy anybody you wish to buy. Right now, Newcastle is where Newcastle is because of these restrictions. If these restrictions were not there, Newcastle would be another city. The Premier League is already they're already facing the implications of having a city who has the money and they are not wasteful. Because City is already a monster that they created with that. If those rules were to be in play when City was being set up, we won't have a City right now. You won't have the juggernaut called City, you know. And they're about to win their fifth Premier League in a row if they're not careful at this rate.
Calm down. We're gonna get to it, but calm down.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move on.
The next topic we have. So I feel like every time a British pundit talks about Bukayo Saka, they follow it up with 1, 2, or 3 contemporaries of his and somehow try to convince us that those people are better than Saka is. Yep. Meanwhile, when they talk about any other person, they don't follow that up immediately with who Who are the contemporaries who are better than that other person? So let's do it, Inka. Saka, Foden, and Palmer. So question is, 1, are they world class? And 2, who is the best?
Frankly, I don't care.
You don't care who is the best, or you don't care who is world class, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Because we've had this argument before. World class is not a clear-cut definition. There's a gray area, right? So if you tell me all of them are not world class, I agree with you. If you tell me all of them are world class, I agree with you. What you will not do is say Saka is world class, Foden is not, or Foden is world class, Saka is not. Or do you understand? The gap, the difference between the three of them, right, is not like that. But the media make it seem as if it is like that. The way they talk up Foden and Palmer, and the way they rubbish Saka and try and limit all his achievements,
it's crazy.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And the people that I even believe should be supporting Saka are the people at times that look at him and be like, yeah, maybe he's not doing enough. And I'm like, what are you talking about? See, whatever I can, one second, whatever they're doing for their respective clubs, right? There are different scenarios, if you get what I mean. Saka has been carrying us now forever.
Yeah.
Has he carried them to the promised land? Hell no. But that doesn't mean he's not carrying them. Phil Foden, right, has been doing his thing for City. But Phil Foden has more help in City than Saka has at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer just did it for one season where everything went through him. Everything went through him. So consistency is also a key point. For Palmer has not done it as consistently as Saka has. Now, for you to now rubbish the person that has the potential, when they all play in England, who is in England's setup? Who is more important and who plays better? That is a common environment, isn't it? It is a common environment. And is that same guy you now say, oh, let him go and play left back, let him go and play right wing back, and he will still deliver, and you still have the guts to tell me I give up. I give up. Go ahead.
Very, very well said. England has a new manager, which we'll get to. And that's actually the next topic. So this could be a good segue to that. I think we'll finally see the three of them consistently in the England squad. And I think they should be starting together. And I think it's doable. And I can already see the different formations. The funny thing is, the only person that will be a constant is still Saka. Saka will play on the right. It doesn't matter who the coach is. He will play on the right. Foden, you can either play, inside left, whatever you want to call it, left 8, or on the left wing, like they try to play him, or you can even play him at right 8, right? And then Palmer, if you're playing a number 10, that should be your number 10, if you're playing with a number 10. If you're not, I know he's not going to dislodge Saka, so maybe you shunt him off to the left, or frankly, play both of them as the 2 8s.
Akin, let me tell you what will happen. Watch them play Saka at left wing.
Oh, God.
And you know why? Because he's the only one that is flexible. See, they tried to play Foden out of position at the Euros. You saw what happened.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. Cole Palmer can only play attacking cam or right wing. Yeah? So the only person that can still give you prime performance out of position is Saka. So what is going to happen is Tuchel, well, don't let me say what Tuchel would do. I'm not Tuchel, yeah? But all I'm saying is, if you're saying all of them are not world class, I agree with you. If you say all of them are world class, I agree with you. What I will not allow, what I will not, entertain, is where you rubbish Saka and tell me Foden and Palmer are better. And people kind of forget things. I've told you this comparison before. Zinedine Zidane, Francesco Totti, when they were in the Serie A, Zinedine Zidane was flashy, leg overs, blah, 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 all the works. Fine. But in terms of output, in terms of delivery, in terms of impact on your team, Francesco Totti was doing way better for Roma.
Absolutely.
So Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, they might be a little more fleet-footed, more skillful, blah, 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 than Bukayo. But Bukayo knows what he wants. He's more, I don't know how else to put it. Yeah?
It's more productive.
It's more productive.
And has been for longer.
So people should just stop this nonsense.
All right. So I'm ready to make my declaration.
Yes.
I think you and I, the last time we talked about being world class, we kind of agreed on a definition.
Yes.
You know, we kind of backed our way into a definition. Like, for the most part, generally, if you're top 5 by your position in the world, you're probably in the neighborhood, you're probably in the conversation. If you're top 3, certainly. You know, I think if you're a top 3, number 10 in the world, you're probably world class. All other things being equal. There may be times, like especially at left back. Left back is a good example where there's just not as many humans who can use their left foot as there are who can use their right. So sometimes there may not be 5 world-class left backs in the world, right?
And we also said you compare with the people coming before. You can't have a Roberto Carlos as a world-class left back, and you now come and say Zinchenko because he's the only left back that is available, or is a top 5, and now say is when the comparison between the two of them is just light and day. Yeah,
absolutely. So I would say, you know, I already said it this season that I now believe that Saka is now world class, right? Because what I said last season was he will get there. I think it's there now. It's the maturity. I've seen him captain now. You know, it's just the maturity. You know, team plays better when he's there, all of that stuff. Okay. And I don't want to do it on form only, right? So Foden hasn't been on form this season. But I think if Foden has another season like he did last season, I think I'll be ready to move him into that. But I don't. Is Foden top 5? I don't know. And then Palmer, you know, how will he do when the people around him elevate? Will he still be, you know, a man amongst men? He was a man amongst boys last season. But can he be a man amongst men? And for me, that's the next level that he needs to get to. So that's my answer.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, I agree with you. Anybody that says anything about world class or not, no, frankly, I'll just agree. Because So based on your definition, you've explained yourself. But for someone else to now come and, you know, say Saka is not world class, but Foden is, Palmer is, I'm like, what are you people on about?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on, Aki.
The segue. Thomas Tuchel is the new England manager. You know, I care not a thing at all about England. I never want them to do well. You know, but I like Tuchel. He always messes things up wherever he goes. I think that will happen here as well. You know, but just in general, what's your take on the appointment?
So before we talk about Tuchel, let's talk about Lee Castley and the
interim position.
The interim and his audition for the work, right? If you have anybody, you're a coach or in any profession, and you're trying to audition, please study what Lee Castley did and don't ever do that kind of nonsense, right? Don't ever. Aki, you cannot be auditioning for a job and you come in with something you have never done before. It will be stupid of you. The ideal thing is you come in with something or you present something that you're comfortable with. The game they played against Greece, was it Greece? Was Greece?
I didn't watch it. Yeah, it was Greece.
He played 4-2-2-2. No recognized striker. He played all these guys together. And it was like headless chicken running all over the place. And I'm like, dude, you what are you, hey, God. What are you doing? You are auditioning for a job. You don't play games. You don't experiment when you are auditioning for a job. You don't. I believe he's a better coach than what he showed. But come on, you don't do that. Who? This guy, who's advising you? And that game, as I saw the lineup and I saw the way he put them on the pitch, I said, this guy's gone. He's not going to get a job. There's no way he's going to get a job. No way. I didn't even wait. I didn't watch the game. I didn't see the whole game. But I watched, the pundits talk about the aftermath of the game and how ridiculous the game was, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I knew that this was what's going to happen. What was he thinking? Anyway, Thomas Tuchel is a good coach. Yeah. You and I have minor issues with him. He'll probably do fine. Is he going to win something for England? Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so.
It could. He's also a good tournament coach, as we've seen with Chelsea.
Exactly. So a lot of what I want to talk about slightly is a lot of guys, a lot of the pundits, the English pundits, have been going on and on about how they're disappointed that an Englishman was not selected. Yeah?
I don't blame them.
And Akin, we've talked about this from a Nigerian standpoint, yeah?
Yeah.
If I have coaches here, you go and bring me a Pasero, a Janet Raw, or whoever, right? I'll be pissed.
Yeah.
But Thomas Tuchel is better than everybody, every other option, every other English option that you have currently. Would you agree with me?
I would have to.
Exactly. So the only reason why you are saying you don't want Tuchel is because you believe sense of entitlement is an English job. It should be an Englishman that should be there. I agree with that. But let it be clear and be consistent and let it know that is the reason why. Yeah? Akin, I'm a fan. You're also I like supporting women and the rest of it. At my workplace, I say something. I said, I will bring that support to the table when I see a woman that is qualified and you are not giving her the job because she's a woman. That is when I will really, really get mad. I don't want an incompetent woman giving that person the job because she's a woman. That is what I don't want. And I'm sure the women that are competent will also not want that. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in this English situation. If they had brought you a Pasero, was that our coach that just left now? What's his name?
When I tell you I didn't bother to learn this unknown white man's name, you thought I was kidding.
If they had brought you Pasero or Gennett Raw or whatever, then this is a Champions League winning coach. Dude, what else do you want?
And he won with an unfancied side.
Unfancied side. Y'all gave the job to, what's his name? Southgate. Y'all gave the job to Southgate coming from Middlesbrough. Come on, man. So of them, Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, what's his name? Jamie Carragher, going on and on about, why it must be an English. Those guys, they keep losing credibility in my eyes every day because of the rubbish that they keep spewing every day.
Yeah.
That's a decent appointment for the English national team. I rest my case.
It's really good. No, so I make fun of England all the time. I'm not a fan. But numbers don't lie. Ball don't lie. So the last time before Southgate, did they lose under Southgate to Iceland, or was that somebody else? Was that Southgate?
That was Southgate, I guess. That was Southgate.
Yeah. Okay. But he's made that progression, right? It's obvious now that England has very good players. It's obvious. The talent, the team is brimming with talent. I don't like their goalkeepers, and I don't like how they choose amongst the goalkeepers. I don't like. But they are very good players in the England team, and they have one of the best strikers in the world playing number 9. I don't know for how many more years, but he's absolutely one of the best.
Yeah.
And if they could have all this success, they played in finals under Southgate. What would they do under a real tournament coach? So England could mess around and go and win something, which bothers me to no end. I do not like that. I don't want that to happen, but it could happen because now they already had the players for the last few years, and now they have, in my opinion, a world-class coach.
Yeah,
this is not good. It's not good.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
Yinka.
Yes, sir.
A couple times a year, we get the blessing of the most bizarre situation in the world of sports. When I woke up, I think Nigeria was supposed to play Libya last Tuesday, right? Last Tuesday. When I woke up on Monday morning and I was reading you guys chatting in our group chat, I really thought it was a hoax. I think I told you I was traveling on Monday, so I was trying to pack. I was gonna drive later in the day, but I had a full day of work to compress into like 4 or 5 hours before driving, so I didn't have time to respond. But I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, oh, is this a hoax? Like, we're still doing this in 2024? So Nigeria flies to go play Libya after already beating Libya in Uyo, right? So in Uyo, Nigeria flies to go play Libya, and there's all these shenanigans around. They wouldn't let them land closer to the city where they're playing. So instead, they let them land, what was it, 3 hours away or something ridiculous like that?
200 kilometers away.
200 kilometers away. And then even when they landed, they were detained.
They didn't let them leave the airport. Yeah.
They didn't let them leave the airport. They end up sleeping at the airport with no food and all that. And I'm like, what are we doing? So net, Nigeria returns home without playing the game. So, Inka, what's your take on this? What should CAF do? Because technically, when you boycott or you abandon a game, your opponent gets 3 points and 3 goals. Now, technically, Nigeria would still qualify for the Nations Cup, even if they took that point deduction. But overall, this is not good for African football. What are we doing?
So, Akin, if you ask me, this for me is one of the benefits of social media. Because Akin, this is not the first time these guys, I will add Libya to North Africa in this case. This is not the first time they will do stuff like this. And they've been getting away with it from a CAF standpoint forever. Or else, if someone has been punished before with this nonsense, they won't dare repeat it again. But they do it, and because CAF, once again, there's the suggestion that CAF supports, CAF lets them do their thing. Yeah?
Yeah.
This is not the first time it will happen in Libya, Aki. Eyimba, Rivers United, have slept in the airport before. Rivers United was training in the night. They came and they switched the lights of the stadium. They switched it off on them. So they were in the darkness. Nothing. And when you report to CAF, it gets swept under the carpet.
Nothing happens.
So I just said I should lead with that. So everybody keeps saying, oh, there's a reciprocity issue going on here. You did the same thing for them. I'm not even going to go through that, Aki. Let the investigations happen. And if NFA messed up, see, there's a difference. If NFA messed up, right, which is possible. Maybe there was a miscommunication. The NFA told them to go to Port Harcourt, which I doubt, Aki. And you know why I doubt it? This is not the first time we are taking people, we are playing matches in Uyo. We've taken
Isn't Uyo pretty much where Nigeria plays all their matches now? Pretty much, right? Okay. It's either Uyo or Abuja. Okay.
Absolutely. Right? Uyo has become the home of Super Eagles because there's a good stadium, there's an airport there and there are good hotels, right?
Yeah.
We've taken our worst enemies to Uyo. We didn't do Dakar. We don't see, Aki, Nigerians, you know the way we are. I might be drinking Gary every day in my house. For those of you that don't know, Gary is like the common,
staple,
cassava
flakes.
Cassava flake, common food staple in Nigeria. But if my friend comes, I will pound yam for my friend that has come to visit me, right?
Yeah.
And when he leaves at night, I might just eat ekwa and akara.
You go back to your Gary. Yeah.
Or go back to my Gary.
Absolutely.
We are hospitable people. We don't mess with our guests. Yeah? I have some insider information. We take care of our people. We take care of the clubs that play, teams that come. South Africa came, although there was a hitch with South Africa, NFA was at fault, they apologized, and you didn't hear anything, did you?
No.
Ghana came. Ghana World Cup qualifier in Abuja. It was peaceful. There was no issue.
Eternal rivals Ghana. Frenemy Ghana.
Is it now Libya, who, with all due respect, they're spotting nobodies.
And they bottom of the table in our group?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So is it now Libya that we will do this to? So the story as it goes right now is Libya flew to PH. NFF is Port Harcourt. NFF is claiming that no, we told them to fly to Uyo. Every club comes to Uyo. That we didn't even know that they were coming until they were already airborne, and they told us that, oh, our team has taken off, right? And they are going to Port Harcourt. NFF have said, even when they landed in Port Harcourt, we got clearance for the plane to bring them to Uyo.
Uh-huh. So Uyo Port Harcourt is what? 30 minutes, maybe?
Less than 30 minutes. But flying is less than 30 minutes, right? But the NFF also claimed that the guy said no, that maybe they didn't want to take the cost. We don't know why, but they said they are fine, that they will sort themselves. Let's get buses for you. They said no, we'll cater to ourselves. When they catered to themselves, NFF still gave them security that followed them from Port Harcourt to you.
Uyo.
So that whole story, let the investigation, let it come out, and let's know who's at fault. So, Akin, if that was a mistake on NFF's part, and I'm beginning to, it might be, there's a possibility that somebody messed up, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Does that now mean that you have to now intentionally, right, do what you did? Because theirs wasn't a mistake. It's obvious already.
Yeah, it was intentional.
It was intentional. And the spotlight is now on CAF because there's nothing, there's no way, because the players were able to, the way they could communicate was some of them had to roam their lines, right? And the network was so bad, they needed to be walking out of the airport premises to be looking for network to roam their line, to be able to, make calls and, Twitter messages and stuff like that. So if Libya did it intentionally, they should be sanctioned, right?
Absolutely.
And I like the stance that the players took. They're like, sorry, there are mistakes, right? People make mistakes and it's fine, no problem. But this is definitely not a mistake, right? We had clearance to land in Benghazi. Clearance to land in Benghazi. The pilot was already descending into Benghazi when your authority told him, Oga, go to wherever, Al-Abrak or whatever. Go to Al-Abrak and go chill at Al-Abrak. They got to Al-Abrak, there was no welcoming party. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. These guys slept at the airport.
No food.
No food. And the Libyan authority had the audacity to now come and say in their write-up, and this is how I know that they are at fault. After having said everything, I said, but you guys also did the same thing for us. I'm like, you see, this is where you messed yourself up.
The one thing I can tell you for a fact, Nigeria didn't give you food. I don't believe that. I don't believe that part. That Nigeria would not give a team food. I don't believe that. Because that is the one thing that everybody knows Nigeria would do. You will eat.
You will eat. You will eat.
I can't guarantee your security, but I can guarantee you food.
So I believe this stuff is premeditated, and I think they know what they're doing, right? Because they came to PH, and even before the game started, their players sat on the floor and they were taking pictures, and I'm like, I've been to Port Harcourt Airport. They just refurbished it, dude. What are you guys doing on the floor, outside? What is this?
And they're probably in the VIP section.
They went to the prayer area. There's a open prayer area. They went there and they were sleeping. And I'm like, people typically do this. I do this at times when I'm traveling internationally. I go to the mosque and I'm waiting for another salah. I chill. I might lie down or do whatever. But you're making it seem as if you guys are, what are you doing? Anyway, so
okay,
how CAF will react to this is what I'm interested in. They said they've started an investigation. I'm not saying the Nigerian side of things are clean and stuff, right? I like giving people, benefit of the doubt and stuff. But Libya that Nigeria is now Libya that will do this too. Even if you are going to do it to anybody, Libya. Sorry.
all I can say is, when we were growing up and we were getting throttled by Cameroon and Ghana, sometimes Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia, maybe we should have been doing this. That's all I'm gonna say. Turn off the lights in the hotel.
Exactly. And we don't have the precedence of doing this, but you guys are notorious for this. Y'all are notorious for this.
No, I mean, the Nigerian hospitality. I mean, we're known for this. Like, this makes no sense. Anyway,
this is who we are. This is us.
You will eat, and you will laugh.
And you will laugh.
I can assure you that.
Oh God, they will so feed you. As you're finishing one, they'll bring another one. Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want? And you're like, guy, I'm up to here. Just okay, we will pack it for you. Take away. That's who we are.
I mean, it's amazing because even on when I take domestic flights in Nigeria, it's just shocking to me how much food they give you. Because in the US, it's zero. In the US, you get peanuts or pretzels. That's it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Or sometimes you get a cookie, as in a cookie, one. That's it. And I'm talking, and then anything else you have to buy it. And for there was a 6-year period where I worked in California and I lived in Seattle and DC. So I would DC to California is 6 hours, and literally that's all you get unless you buy food, Wow. So they'll now say, oh, in addition to this, there's food for sale.
There's food.
That's where the aviation industry is in the US now. Like you pay for everything.
Madness.
So when I fly local in Nigeria, I'm like, oh, this is a lot of food. They give you all kinds of stuff, nicely packaged or whatever. I'm like, this is nice, And sometimes it's only for a 30-minute flight, like Lagos to Ilorin is like you're in the air for total experience is maybe 40 minutes. You're flying for maybe 22 minutes. They still give you a boxed lunch, pretty much. So this is shocking to me that you will accuse Nigerians of not having hospitality. But anyway, we move on. Okay, so I think we've come to the end of our rapid fire worthy mentions. So I don't really want to do this, but we have to talk about the games that happened this weekend.
We have to.
So we'll end with the Premier League, but let's do the top 4, the other top 4 leagues outside of the Premier League. Was there anything notable that you just want to talk about very, very briefly? Nothing? Okay.
Nothing. Everybody won. Okay. Everybody won. Yeah. Kane scored a hat-trick.
Harry Kane scored a hat-trick, yes.
Harry Kane scored a hat-trick. I think Barca was playing when we started. Barca won 5-1. That's the only game that was still open. Marseille won 5-0. Amazing. Greenwood scored again.
You think they can do it?
Nah, I think it's PSG's title to lose.
Okay.
I think it's PSG's to lose. So PSG and Monaco are on the same points. Marseille's third right now, 3 points behind them. I think it's PSG's to lose. So nothing major happened across other leagues. I think we can just skip to the EPL.
All right, that's good because we don't have a lot of time. So,
yes,
in the Premier League, the big news, as always, was the referees. So, let me try and let me try and set the table. So, Arsenal went to Bournemouth. So, number one, Bournemouth has one of the tiniest stadiums in the Premier League. I think with the guys that got relegated last year, I think they could have the smallest. I think
it's between Luton and Bournemouth.
Luton is out. So Luton is out. Luton was so bad they couldn't even start their season at home because their renovations to get into the Premier League did not. It was not completed. So Bournemouth is like 11,000. You know, this is a tiny stadium. Arsenal lost 2-0. I don't think Arsenal played well during any stretch of that match.
Yep.
But the big story was a red card. So William Saliba was given a red card. It was originally a yellow for a professional foul on, was it Evan Nilsson? I think it was Evan Nilsson, right?
Evan Nilsson. Yeah,
it was Evan Nilsson. And it was deemed to be denial of a goal scoring opportunity. Now, this was right after the center circle. Or right in the center circle.
In the center circle.
In the center circle, like the line, the halfway line. You know, right after the halfway line. But I think lost in all this is how did the ball get to Evan Nilsson in the first place? Inka, the first couple times, I thought it was a defender, a Bournemouth defender that played it. I'm like, why is that not offside? So I'm like, why is this not offside? Because that should have been offside. There shouldn't even be a decision to make. And I saw that it was an Arsenal attacker.
It was Trossard.
Trossard, who I'm like, why did he play it back? Was this supposed to be like a playing back to the goalkeeper from the other end of the pitch? That's crazy. What was he thinking? But anyway, the main thing is Saliba pulled the guy down. The guy went down dramatically. Referee clearly gave him a yellow. It was, which I think was the right thing to do because there was a covering defender. Was it Ben White? Ben White was running back. And then there was the goalkeeper, although the goalkeeper started retreating instead of coming forward. So, but then the VAR said, hey, intervention, go take a look. The man takes a look, comes back, cancels the yellow, gives a red. 30 minutes, Saliba out. So, Yinka, what's your take on? So, I think it could have been a red, right? But if the referee had given a red, I don't think it gets overturned. But once he had given a yellow, I don't think there's enough there to upgrade it to a red. And I don't think it was a clear and obvious error. So there was no need for a VAR intervention. So my real issue is with the VAR. What's your take?
Okay. So before we really get into the refs, let me talk about the game a bit more. Right?
Go for it.
In terms of starting lineups, I wouldn't have started that team or put the team together that way. But this goes back to the point that we discussed last week around whether you're playing too many games or not, right? Trossard just went to 180 minutes of grueling international football, right? Calafiori, he scored. Calafiori, same. Saliba, same. Gabriel, same. Wright, same. Merino, same. Raya, same. So you had an Arsenal team that wasn't as fresh, and you had a Bournemouth team that the only guy that they had was Semenyo, is the only international that actually traveled. Semenyo and he didn't play well because Ghana is out of the Nations Cup right now. Yeah. So I wouldn't have started that. I probably would have started Ethan in one area, although he also played a couple of games during the break, blah, blah, blah. Right? But I can even live with Mikel's starting lineup, fine. What I really then had a problem with is when we went down to 10 men, right? Bournemouth is not City. Bournemouth is not Brighton. Yes, they're a Premier League club, but I wouldn't have made those changes. Yeah?
No.
And see, it's fair to critique, yeah? And this is what I'm doing. I would have told Declan Rice to move into centre back and just continue the game that way.
That's it. You don't need to bring in Kivior.
You don't need to bring in Kivior. Declan Rice, go play centre back. Merino, Partey, let Kai Havertz come into the middle and just say, Sterling and Trossard are my two strikers. Just do whatever you want to do.
Two outlets, yeah.
Then immediately I will have taken off Trossard because he's the slower player. I will have brought in a Martinelli to say, I need pace now. So the two of you, just do your magic. Whatever you can get for me, get for me. Yeah? That's what I would have done. I think Mikel got it wrong, but it's fine. See, it was a bad day in office. Yeah? It's like Murphy's Law. Everything that could have went wrong. Yeah?
Absolutely. Very bad day.
So that's the whole. Arsenal didn't play well at all, and we deserve to lose. So it's not a situation of So the players and the coach had a stinker. All said. Now going to the yellow card, the sending off incidents.
You were so incensed, Tinka.
Akin, I told you 2 weeks ago. I said for Arsenal, it's a reason to send off. For every other team, it's a reason not to send off. Arsenal are refereed differently. You've seen it today. This thing, the evidence just keeps propping up every time. Every time. I had to go pull the laws. I sent it to you. You saw it. When it comes to Doxo, you consider a couple of things. Distance between the offense and the goal, general direction of play, likelihood of keeping or gaining control of the ball, location and number of defenders. There are 4 considerations here. Historically, there was a game during COVID that was Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Same situation, even closer to goal. Defenders were farther away from I think it was Pepe. Was it Pepe then? I can't remember who it was. I can't remember the Arsenal player that was fouled. And he wasn't given a red card because they said he was quite far away from goal.
It was Pepe.
It was Pepe, right?
It was Pepe.
They said it was quite far. So there is a precedence. The ref gave a yellow card, which in my opinion is the right decision.
The ref actually had a good game.
He had a good game, although the penalty wasn't a penalty. But anyway, that's water under the bridge. The game is already lost anyway. That yellow card was the correct decision, based on precedence and based on the law. Because of 2 things: distance from goal. He was in the center circle, and Ben White was actually in line.
It was
if not it was not entirely in line, but it was in line. Now, I can fast forward to today's game between Liverpool and Chelsea. Same situation. The defender wasn't even in line. The defender was behind. The defender was behind. Yellow card was given, and the VAR looked at it and they said the yellow card is the right decision. Somebody please explain to me.
You can't.
Somebody please explain to me how this is going on. Arsenal are referred differently. We've had 3 sending off this season, and all of them have been controversial. There's no one that will be like, oh, okay, man, about that tackle, man, that's a red card. There's none. And there are several other players that have done what Arsenal players have done, and they were not sent off. And when we speak, right? So today, you know the funniest part? On Twitter today, the Liverpool fans were livid that, what's his name? That Tosin was not sent off. And I'm like, that's the correct decision.
It was also a stronger foul, a worse foul.
Exactly. Than Saliba's own.
Than the Saliba. Because Saliba was like, he just pulled.
But for me, that is the right decision. Tosin shouldn't have been sent off. Going by the rules of the law. The decision
he bundled the man down. He bundled him down.
Yeah. And even need him in the ribs. And the guy had to leave the pitch eventually. So, Akin, this is what I'm saying. Now, extension. The game earlier on today, Wolves versus City. Let me chill a bit. Now, hear me out. I actually think City's goal was a clean goal. Me, as Inka Yusuf, personally. but the refs had boxed themselves into a corner, because I can show you games in the past where the goals were cancelled because of that.
Yeah.
And Otwell, the Stuart Otwell that was a VAR, called Chris Kavanagh to say, dude, this is what happened here. We cancelled goals in the past because of this, so come and look at this. But you and I know Chris Kavanagh ain't going to go against City. You and I know that.
Otwell, so those two combinations, that was also the combination for the Declan Rice red card. Otwell was the VAR and Kavanagh was the ref.
So we had a situation where a ref went to the screen, as advised by VAR, that this is a clear and obvious error. That's the only reason why VAR got involved, though. And he got there and he said, "No, I'm sticking to my on-field decision." Which, Akin, you know, I'm saying
never
this.
happens.
I don't know what refereeing is anymore. But personally, I think that goal was a clean goal. If that goal was scored, if Arsenal scored that goal and was cancelled, I'll believe it. But there is precedence.
But Yinka, you remember there was a linesman's flag up. They didn't show it in the frame initially. But then the linesman raised his flag, right? So I think what happened, this is what I think happened, right? And I looked at the law, right? So my daughter and I were actually talking about this because I was mistaken. I knew you couldn't be offside from a throw-in. My daughter was like, Dad, you can't be offside from a corner kick. I'm like, sure you can. So I was wrong on that one. You cannot be offside from a corner kick.
You can't.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. But then what happened?
Because the ball is at the corner flag. So yes. You understand?
Yeah. No, I know. It's just you don't think about this thing. So I was But I'm like, let me not argue with this girl in case she's right. So I didn't argue with her. Then I checked later. So when the ball's coming, right? Bernardo Silva had bumped, the
goalkeeper.
All of that, right? You can do that from an offside position. So that's okay, right? But then in that second phase, when Stone heads the ball, you cannot do those things. So where they were unfortunate is in that second phase, he had already committed the offense and was now clean. He now had clean hands, right? It was out of the line of sight. One second, Yinka, it was out of the line of sight and away physically from Sa. But I don't like Sa. I don't think he's a great goalkeeper. But Sa had already been bothered, already been disturbed, and the ball goes above his head and they score.
Barking, they came out with a rule, I think it was 2 seasons ago, that if it's a free kick, if it's a corner kick, if you are blocking, if you're blocking or you're manhandling anybody, right, that they will call these things tightly.
Yeah.
Which is why they went to report Ben White, right, that Ben White is doing dark arts, which is why, what's his name, in the City game, that first header by Gabriel that went over, the ref said if it had gone in, it wouldn't have counted. So once again, you are not consistent. There is precedence. You have cancelled those kind of goals in the past. That is why Stuart Otwell called Chris Kavanagh to the VAR. You can't continue to do this. It's stupid. I'm sorry. It's incompetent. It's stupid. And when was the last time you saw VAR call someone, right, and he goes against? When was the last time? And the ref says, no, I'm sticking to my own field decision.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to say. Technically, this wasn't an on-field decision. So the ref gave the goal. The linesman raised their flag. So the ref said it wasn't a goal. So technically, the on-field...
Really?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Because of the flag. So
whoa.
That's what I was trying to tell you.
Whoa. Hold on. Sorry. I missed that. I missed that completely.
It wasn't in the frame.
What you're telling me is the on-field decision was no goal.
No goal, eventually.
You're joking.
Yeah, because he didn't see his linesman initially, right? But the linesman, now they let you play the game before they raise the flag, right? So after the goal had scored, of course, Kavanagh says it's a goal, and then the linesman's thing go up because you can. If you notice, it was just a few seconds before the referee came together and was
okay. So Kavanagh said goal. It was the linesman that said
initially, right? The linesman raised the flag, so technically the on-field decision
was
is
no goal.
Technically.
Now I get it.
You see what I mean? And then VAR now says go and check.
So
and then he came back.
Called him. Otto called him to come and say, "Guy, that's a goal." So that's what it was.
It's a goal. Yeah.
Not that it wasn't a goal. You see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's what happened. But the linesman was not in the frame that was on the international feed or whatever that all of us were watching. It wasn't in the frame.
I think it's a goal. I think it's a clean goal. I
think it's unfair. By the letter of the law, it's a goal. But I think it's very unfair because you've already committed the sin. No, but you've committed the sin. You've bumped the guy. You've done all the things. The law shouldn't allow you to do that.
Akin, the only thing right now is the only thing why I disagree with you is just because of what you're saying right now. From a footballing standpoint, Akin, that's a clean goal. The issue I have is consistency. You've cancelled. Y'all have cancelled goals in the past because of that. You have. So why didn't you cancel this one? Why did you go the other way?
And from a Wolves perspective, Yinka,
they've suffered.
Why are you letting the tiny? No, that too. But why are you letting the smallest man on the field bully your goalkeeper? Where are the defenders?
Maybe because he's the smallest man on the pitch.
But there was no. And then Jose Sa himself needs to be stronger there. He needs to be stronger. If the guy is bumping you, you push him away. You get the benefit of the doubt. Because he can do it to you pre-kick. You can do it to him too pre the corner kick.
Because that corner kick is something he could have come out for to punch.
Exactly.
It could have come out for that ball to punch, and it was because this guy was impeding him. See, Akin. Once again, I think it's a goal, right?
By the letter of the law.
I'm not the ref.
Yeah.
But those refs, based on things they've done in the past, they have cancelled those kind of goals in the past.
Yeah.
But this time around, they decided to give it. So it goes back to the inconsistency every week, week in, week out. These guys are just. I'm done. I'm done.
But the big picture, John Stones has now scored 2 late winners from corner kicks for City. One against Arsenal with 28 seconds to go or whatever. Today against Wolves with 11 seconds to go. If they win the league, it will be because of those 4 points. I believe.
Yeah.
I believe. It will be because of those 4 points.
Those are the stuff of champions, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I hate, I say this, the first game back from international break and the last game to international breaks are banana peels. Very, very tricky. Very, very tricky for everybody. They were able to navigate it today, right? And as I said, look at the squad. Foden on the bench, what's his name? De Bruyne injured, and they can still pull that off. Yeah. Like I said, it's City's league to lose. Yeah.
Sadly.
I think they're gonna win it. Yeah.
I had Arsenal winning at the beginning of the season. They're only 3 points behind. If they beat City, is it away now? Where was the last game? Yeah, if they beat City at home, you're level on points. But it feels like Arsenal don't have control right now. It just feels like something's off.
No, so what this tells you, and which Arsenal fans don't want to agree, is that your team, right, outpunched themselves last season. They punched, they outperformed, they elevated themselves last season. You started off the season. You've been chopping and changing. Your main player in Odegaard is not there. Saka was injured. and you've had the worst kind of luck in terms of refereeing decisions.
Very true. Very true.
And this is the same thing happened at the beginning of the season last year. The only player that was sent off for delay of game, right? Remember the Tomiyasu red card against Crystal Palace.
I know.
But those kind of things didn't affect you. You won those kind of games. But this time around, all the points Arsenal have dropped this season is because they've been down to 10 men. They've been with 10 men. And all the decisions have been controversial. So it goes back to your point that you mentioned 2 weeks ago. Arsenal need to be perfect, where other teams just need to be okay. It's not proper. So forget it. There's no way. There's no way. You don't have the strength, you don't have the capabilities right now to play the games and play the refs. You don't. Especially when your opponents are playing the game and they don't have to play the ref. I mean, it is what it is. Now, a simple message to all Arsenal fans out there. I'm going to say this. I was shocked when I got on X or Twitter later on yesterday evening, and I saw Arteta out. And I'm like, maybe Arsenal fans really deserve whatever they're going through. I'm serious. I think y'all deserve whatever y'all are going through. Y'all deserve it. Because this is Arsenal's first away loss in 2024.
2024.
First loss.
2024. Yeah.
And all these clowns have the audacity to say, if Arsenal does not win anything this season, they don't win anything this season, then I guess Arteta must leave, right? Because even Ten Hag won 2 trophies. And I'm looking at these people like, are you stupid or are you dumb? I don't know which is which.
So, may I?
Go ahead, Aki.
So, I think Arteta is a really, really good coach. I think Arteta is a really good man manager. I think Arteta is super smart. I think he works hard, but he's not infallible, right? I think you caught on to this early on yesterday. That you didn't like the lineup. I also didn't love the lineup. But at the same time, I feel like he's earned the right to make the occasional mistake, right? I think what killed Arsenal yesterday was the midfield. So Arteta has this thing where sometimes he falls in love with certain players. He clearly loves Mikel Merino. Maybe it's because they have the same name, or they're both Spanish, or they're both Basque player, whatever it is. I think Merino is Basque as well. Merino cannot be your most attacking in your midfield three. It makes no sense. Now, I say all this with the caveat that the control and the pass to Martinelli was amazing from Merino. Yep. That was amazing. He has a way. His movement that was really, really amazing. But he coughed the ball up a lot of times. He's now used to being the most advanced. And then when you don't have Saka to help him, because he was mostly on the right side, it was not a good time to experiment, right?
I agree.
It was not. Now, Ethan Nwaneri needs to start playing. Think about it, Yinka. Since Odegaard has been out, his most natural successor has only started in the EFL Cup.
Carabao Cup.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And when he came in yesterday, even though that game was done at that time, you see this kid, you see he's good enough, Yinka. He's ready. His close control is crazy. He's faster, quicker, dribbles better than Odegaard. I'm not saying he's better than Odegaard. But if Nwaneri starts playing, is actually a lot like Foden with better control. You know what I mean? Because Foden has some wheelchair in him. You know what I'm saying? Where he shows the ball too much. Nwaneri doesn't show you the ball. It's like it's stuck to his foot. You know? It plays a lot like Foden, but with, in my opinion, a lot better control. I'm like, it doesn't look out of place. Play the kid.
I agree. I would have started the kid. But remember what I told you. He also had internationals. He's England under 21. He's under 21. I can't remember. But he played.
Under 19
he
or
played.
Whatever.
They beat 4-2. He captained the team, and I think he scored, and he had a good game.
He's good.
You know,
he's good, Yinka.
He's 17. That is my only caveat.
He's strong.
That's my caveat. He's 17.
Yeah.
And not that I'm defending Arteta here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get his lineup. I kind of get it. But at the same time, I'm like, You know, I brought it up on our group chat, and everybody I said, I get what he's trying to do. You said Merino can't play that. Merino played that same position for Spain in both games in the international break.
No, yeah, I get it, but
he did.
But you know what I'm happy about though, Yinka? And you can tell. You know who didn't go play for their country? Partey.
Kai and
Partey didn't go. Partey Kai didn't go. And this is the best Partey has looked this season. Partey actually had a really good game.
He did.
Partey actually had a really, really
good game. He had a really good game.
So, and Rice hasn't been playing well this season. Yesterday was okay. You know, so I think the team just needs refreshing. Odegaard can't come back quickly enough. Martinelli couldn't start because he's also carrying a knock.
He's carrying a knock.
And he had to convert that chance. It was harder to miss than to score. And he should have
done. You remember when Maradona was coaching Harry Kane? Have you seen that clip before? When Maradona was telling Kane, "No, go look for that clip." You know, Harry Kane is always doing the Thierry Henry finish.
Yes.
Maradona was telling him. There was a time they met. Now told him, he did.
Don't do that.
Probably the English wasn't there. It was like,
don't
do that. You go this way. You know, he said, look this way, but go this way. That's what he should have done. Right?
Yeah. Give him the eyes.
Give him the eye, put it in the side corner.
Put it on. Yeah. It was
in the
but
corner.
Again, and I would have thought he would have had more confidence because he scored 2 games in a row and all that. And then finally, Yinka, you thought Jesus should have started. Do you still feel that way? Even though he hasn't scored in 21 games, now 22?
Yes.
He made some good runs.
Yes.
He made some good runs when he came in.
I would have started Jesus ahead of Trossard. Trossard played 180 minutes for Belgium against Italy and against France. They were tough games.
That's a lot.
And he played the whole, and it was obvious. That is why he will give a back pass from there to exactly. He shouldn't have started. He shouldn't have started.
And then he had the audacity to be mad when he was taken out. I'm like, why are you upset? But you got quickly. Quickly. The person I thought played well that I wasn't expecting to play well was Sterling. Sterling actually was having a good game. That's why I was
shocked when he was sacrificed. I wouldn't have sacrificed anybody. All I would have said is, Declan, go play centre back.
Yeah.
And we'll then see how it goes. Halftime, just take out what's his name? Trossard, and bring in a Jesus. If you are scared of Martinelli picking up or making his knock worse, just play that way. That's what you should have done. Not try and hunker down and but I haven't said despite that, they still have 2 chances that they should have converted, the Merino one and the Martinelli one. But for me, bad day in office. You have next week against Liverpool, right, to right the wrong, because if you lose the game, it doesn't matter, Aki. If you need to see, these are the cards that you've been dealt. You just need to make it work. Move Ben White to center back, play somebody else at right back. If you want to play,
he won't do that though. I think Kivior is gonna play.
So even if Kivior plays, I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going to play Kivior, don't play Kivior on the right side of defense, right?
No.
And the same thing.
The more experienced player will move,
Kivior also played for Poland for 2 games against wherever I went to. You see what I'm saying? So all these players that are saying we play too much games, they should save themselves at times, right? Kai Havertz told the German, give them a middle finger. I was like, guys, I have a knee, I have a knock. He didn't have anything. He played. He was just like, I can't, I
I'm not
need to
doing it.
rest. Which is what Declan Rice should have done also. Declan Rice has not had a break since last season.
In 2 years. Because remember, 2 seasons ago, he won
West Ham.
the conference.
Exactly.
He won the conference with West Ham.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's showing in his game. He looks leggy. Yeah. He's not fresh. Yeah. He needs to rest. Next international break, he should sit his ass at home. That's what he should do.
Yeah. Well, anyway. at least the England players don't travel as much as like the Brazilians or whatever. They're not going to South America or Africa or whatever.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Man, what a game. But let's get quickly to it. We've talked about City. Liverpool did beat Chelsea. He didn't have a great game today, but the more I watch Nicola Jackson, the more I really like him.
Yeah.
You know, I think this kid could become something. I'm not saying his ceiling will be as high as a Harry Kane or anything like that, but I really like the kid.
There's something there, Aki. There's something there.
There is.
I'm not saying there isn't. There is, yeah. And I noticed this while he was playing in Villarreal. My point is, for the kind of money Chelsea were bandying around, right? For you to end up with Jackson as your 9 right now, that's my point. That's the only issue I have. I don't have a problem with Jackson himself.
That's a good point.
He has a bright future. He'll be fine. But the money Chelsea's been spending, you end up with 9.
That's a good
Jackson
point.
as your only 9. Come on now.
That's a good point. They didn't pay that much for him, but your point is well taken.
Yeah,
I think they paid like 30-something million for him.
You're spending money on one David Datro. What's his God? That guy. You just throw money all over the place. Where you could have said, do you understand? That's my point.
Yeah.
But he played well today. He played well. Chelsea altogether played well today. The problem was their centre backs
beginning to get it together, right? Yeah.
And you notice that Caicedo played better while Enzo wasn't there.
Yes. It's so funny because...
I'm not saying that's the thing, but just be on the lookout for that.
So what I noticed, right, when Enzo when they gave him the captain's band, he didn't really play as well as he could have. But when Caicedo wears it or wore it, it's almost like it suits him. You know, he takes on that extra responsibility, you know. And I think Caicedo is athletic enough, is strong enough, he has enough range to be the single pivot. I don't think he works in the double pivot, but that's just me.
Enzo is nowhere. I'm sorry. See, Enzo's a good player. He's not a great player. No. Enzo in Argentina, anybody in the Argentine national team, take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, anybody. Because of Messi.
Because Messi significantly, it doesn't necessarily amplify their game, but it distracts every other. The opponent is not worried about Enzo. The opponent is not. They're looking at Messi. See the Bolivian game. The Bolivian national team were all about him. And still yet he scored a hat-trick. And he had 1 or 2
assists. He had 2 assists.
So when you watch any Argentine player in the national team, just remember that they are playing with Messi.
Rodrigo De Paul would be my number 1. Rodrigo De Paul. I'm like, Yinka, if this man did not have ball skills, he would be a thug somewhere on the streets in Buenos Aires. You know,
I'm telling you.
I'm like, he's like the blandest midfielder ever. You know, it's just hack. You know, but like no ball skills, no real ball playing skills. Like it just hacks people down. You know.
So I'm not a big fan of Enzo. Lavia, on the other hand, Lavia played very well today. Lavia, Caicedo, they played very well. That they had a good game. But Chelsea, they still have their centre backs, those 2 slots. It's still.
So remember when Chelsea fans saw Badiashile play 3 good games and they said it was the second coming of everyone?
Everyone.
That was hilarious.
No, it was actually two of them.
great.
It was Badiashile and the other guy. There were two of them that they were running amok.
Which one? Not the one that got injured. Not the one. Not the one that got injured.
There were two of them. They had two center backs that they were going on and on about.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other guy's name. One quick point before we move on.
Sure, go for it.
Still about the refs. I just remembered the Chelsea penalty, the Liverpool penalty that was overturned. So, several episodes ago, you guys can go check our archives. I said this, that the refs will make a stupid decision, and for them to make it seem as if, yes, they know what they're doing, they'll double down by issuing a yellow card. There is no way the ref should have yellow carded the Colwell on that tackle. I mean, the goalkeeper, rather. On that.
Sanchez.
What? For what?
It's a simple tackle. It's penalty or no penalty. That's it.
Exactly. Giving a yellow card is you saying, I'm 100% sure you committed a foul. So for VAR to overturn, and then it was reckless. But for VAR to overturn your yellow card just tells me you're.
No, he overturned his own yellow card, bro. Remember, he went to the. He went.
VAR called him. VAR called him.
Yeah,
and said, "Come and have a look at this." That the keeper got the ball. I was like, and I said, "No yellow card. Let's not even a penalty, free kick." And I'm like, "So why did you give a yellow card in the first place?"
Yeah.
And they do this often. They do this. They're trying. I don't know where they got these refs from.
These refs are not good, Yinka. They're not good.
And that's all they do. That's all their job. They don't do anything else.
All right. So, Yinka, we're looking ahead to the week coming up. There are Champions League games on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We've decided that the only ones that are remotely enticing, Dortmund Real, which is a rematch of the final that you and I watched together in Lagos, and then also Bayern versus Barca as well. Can you think of any other matchup that we might care about? I think that's it.
If we're having a Champions League week and there's only two games that matter, it goes back to our point again. Why on earth did you guys tamper with what we had before?
Super League, bro. They wanted to get ahead of the Super League thing. They don't want to lose their supremacy.
This is a bloody waste of time.
It is crazy.
Those are the only two games worth watching. Every other one is. In fact, the only reason why Dortmund Madrid is worth watching is because it's the remake of
in the final.
It's a rematch. Exactly. On a normal day, I will not sit down and watch Dortmund Madrid. I won't.
Yeah. Well, you also have it's like the whatchamacallit, Jude Bellingham derby. You know, you have that as well.
I don't really care for that.
Not compelling enough.
Not compelling enough for you. But we'll watch the games. Still, there's nothing at stake, Aki. If this was the old format, there'll be somebody now that'll be bottom of the table. They are saying, Oga, this is a must-win for you. This is you will know that by now. The excitement will be there. The anxiety will be there. But right now, there's nothing. I'm just like, so what are they playing? They're just playing. So I'd rather skip these midweek games and let's look forward to next weekend where we have the El Clasico and where we have the Arsenal-Liverpool game, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the El Clasico briefly. Who do you think is going to win this? Madrid are home to Barca, or is it Barca home to Madrid? Madrid are home to Barca. What do you think?
Okay, so Madrid at home. I think it will be a draw. But the way my brain works, I would say Barca needs to win. Because if they can win away, they'll probably win the league. Barca also they probably will need the head-to-head in case this thing. Because look, I think if I project into the future, I think Real are more likely to get stronger. Than Barca. So I'm like, get all your points now. You need to open up a gap. So and I think psychologically, you need to open up that gap right now.
Yeah.
So I think it will be a draw, but I think Barca needs to win.
So I totally agree with you on Barca needing to win. because then that would make Barca 6 points ahead, and their goal difference will be like +10. So that means Barca will be literally, they'll be like 9 points ahead of Madrid. Because you say,
it's head to head. It's head to head in La Liga. It's not goals difference. Yeah, it's head to head. Yep.
That's true. So Barca,
that's
Barca
why they also need to win.
Yeah, they need to win, because if they lose, then it's 27. They both get on 27 points. It's a 2-horse race in La Liga.
I think so.
But I even think this is like the slates have been wiped clean, and this is like a new era for both clubs. Madrid they've just brought in their, they've completed their Galacticos set right now, and because it's like sets now, they do sets, and they are trying to let everybody know that Mbappe is here with Vinny, with Rodrigo. This is the new Galacticos. We're here to dominate. But at the same time, Barca is going, let's stay closer to home. Culture, La Masia, blah blah blah. Hansi Flick is doing wonders. I love what he's doing.
Coach for them.
I love what he's doing.
Demeanor, no ego. I think you're not gonna hear this guy talking junk in the press. Because there's so much uncertainty and turmoil in the front office. You don't need it coming from your coach. As much as I love Xavi as a coach was a little emotional. As a player, he wasn't, which is the shocking part of it, But as a coach and manager and fighting with the front office, there was too much going on there. But Hansi Flick is just like even keel.
Yeah,
it's good.
And I think he's getting the best out of everybody.
Absolutely.
Actually, I'm looking at their lineup today. The team that beat Sevilla 5-1, right? This is La Masia with Lewandowski up front.
It's crazy.
So is Lamine Yamal, Ansu Fati, okay, Rafinha, Ansu Fati started for Barca today. Can you imagine? I'm so happy for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's Kubasi, Martinez, Balde, Kunde. So Kunde is the only one that's non-La Masia, right? I love what Hansi Flick is doing, right? So personally, I'm pro Barca. If people don't know, I have a friend. We have a friend that is a Barca enthusiast, is a Barca fanatic, and I also have a close friend and brother who, if he listens to this podcast and hears that I'm not supporting Real Madrid, he might actually kill me.
He might never speak to you again.
He might never speak to me again. I'll probably go watch the game at his house so that I can mock him a bit.
Nice.
I hope they mock him a bit.
I'm rooting for Barca. So Yinka, Arsenal versus Liverpool next week. Arsenal is home. What's your prediction?
It's a must-win for Arsenal.
I agree.
It is a must-win for Arsenal. And it gets worse because they will be playing without Saliba. I pray Julian Timber is fit, right, by next week. So Julian Timber can start at right back. Ben White moves to centre back. You think Kivior will come in? I'd rather Ben White at centre back.
Hopefully not. But I've noticed that for the last 2 seasons, Arteta has been very reluctant to play Ben White at centre back. I don't know why.
Yeah, maybe because Saliba has been ever present.
That's true. Yeah,
Saliba has been ever present, I think that. So the options for that centre back position was Tomiyasu or Ben White.
Yeah,
and even Julian Timber. Timber can play there also. So I just pray Timber is fit. I'm more concerned about Saliba missing the game than Saka missing the game. I don't know why. Although Saka missing the game is also worrisome for me. Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't miss.
I believe you need a clean sheet to be able to get anything against Liverpool.
I would agree. And don't give up penalties.
Yeah, and don't get sent off.
Liverpool could have had 3 penalties today, actually.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So don't get sent off. So I feel like how do I put this? I feel like with Klopp gone, the fire between Liverpool and Arsenal is gonna come down a little bit, you know. So this is like a new era, you know. Slots is still finding his way. Based on what I saw today, Liverpool didn't play well. I mean, Chelsea were on the road and kind of dictated the pace of the game a little bit. They kind of bullied Liverpool a little bit, like physically. Although Palmer didn't have a good game at all. But so I'm just like, I don't like the dip against Bournemouth, but I'm really not worried for next week. Should I be worried? Because I'm not worried at all.
You should be.
I'm really not.
You should be, and I'll tell you why you should be, right? See that Liverpool front line? They have pace and power. That Arsenal black line, they are injured and unfit. That's where you should be worried.
Okay, brilliant observation.
That is where you should be worried. So if everybody were to be fit, right? Timber fit, Saliba fit, I won't be worried.
Okay.
I won't be worried. But Ben White is coming off an injury. He's not really, he's not 100%. The whole Arsenal backline is not 100%. You know, Calafiori has been carrying a knock. Gabriel
and it's a little,
it can be erratic. Games. Exactly. It can be erratic. Played too many games. So the ideal lineup for Arsenal in this game will have been Timber on the left, Ben White on the right, then Saliba and Gabriel. Timber on the left because that nullifies what's his name? Salah cutting in. Yeah?
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. So which is why today you see Chelsea played Gusto at left back, who is right leg.
They did.
That was why. And Gusto had a good game, but Salah is Salah. You know, Salah only needed two times to influence the game: the penalty one, and the and that pass for the winner. You know, that's all he needs. Yeah. Other than that, Gusto actually kept him quiet.
Bruh.
But anyway,
it's like trying to keep Holland quiet. You know, great players always. Although they did keep him quiet today, but great players which is the
second time in 2 weeks, and over the international break, he also had he had stinkers, not just he has stinkers over the international break. That's Haaland, and he was the one that was telling people to be humble. I guess he's the one that needs to be humble. Anyway,
all right, Yinka.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a donkey, or should we just assume it's the referees again and keep it moving?
I was gonna give it to the Libyan Federation.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, they are the donkey of the week. In fact, for the past 2 weeks, they are the donkeys. Because
that makes sense.
It's simply ridiculous. Yeah. There is, like I said, there are mistakes, and there's when you do something, you know, intentionally.
Yeah.
This was done intentionally. Yeah. They knew what they were doing. Even the game, Aki, the Libya-Nigeria game at Uyo, the antics of their players, they were. I don't like playing people like this. Yeah, come and play football. If you lose, you lose. If you know, and if there's the 3 points they want, they can eat it. We don't want it. We don't need it.
My best against your best.
Yeah, my best against your best. Best against your best. I'm sure you're watching the game between KC and San Francisco, right?
KC and San Francisco. Yeah, KC is about to win it on the road. One quick one. I'm really happy that Eguavon is in charge of the Super Eagles.
Yep.
We needed a steady hand, you know, in a time like this, and I think he will steady that ship. I think he will turn it around and will make the World Cup if they don't fire him and put someone else in charge.
Yeah.
And I don't think he will let CAF get away with this stuff. So,
no, I don't think Eguavon might not have any power in terms of, you know, influencing what CAF will do.
But he has press.
Calf
You
will do
know,
what calf will do.
you saw his interview. You saw his interview. He didn't.
Man,
He
he
didn't
speaks well.
toe the
He speaks well.
He didn't toe the politically correct line.
Yeah.
You know, he said it like it is. You know, he said it like it is. He, you know, he reflected the mood in the locker room. You know, instead of he didn't choose the side of, you know, his bosses. Over his players. You know,
over his players.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think he's the right man for the job. But you and I know the way my NFF thinks. A white man comes in, shows them PowerPoints, they'll get lost.
That's it.
They'll get confused.
That's
it. They might give it to a white man that you and I don't know.
Unknown white man.
Unknown white man. Anyway, Aki. I think that's our time spent, isn't it?
Yeah, you wanna wrap?
We actually had a couple of things we wanted to talk about, but we'll skip it we'll push it to other episodes. Since our time is spent. So guys, once again, thanks for all your support. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for following us on our social media platforms. We really do appreciate it. Please, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, tell your friends about us across all our platforms. We do appreciate it. We're still on track to 1,000 baby steps, as they say. And when we blow, as we say in Nigeria, right? I mean, you get bigger content from us. So, Akin, thanks for your time. Thanks for getting your new mic that looks like a lightsaber. I will continue to mock you. About this your new mic. I'm telling you.
Oh my god! Last week was so infuriating because we spent about 2 hours trying to get the mic to work. You know, between one mic and 3 computers, right? You know, then it got to a point where it would work on one of my 2 spare computers, but then the video was bad. It was just terrible. But it's all good. Can I just ask our viewers to please this week do us a favor, tell somebody about us, send one of our clips to somebody. I think I will start asking this every week. Just share one of our shorts, one of our reels or whatever to somebody. And just do that for us this week. And I think that's all I had, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
All right, people.
Bye.
Bye.